what they rounded out with. If it is going to be the Karma speed up here, then it is going to be that heavy poke lane. And this is one of the problems with people blind picking or early picking Tahm Kench support. Yeah, you do get the Devour for later on, but Tahm Kench in lane, this kind of takes away some of the power of the Varus pick in the first place, where Varus is a tremendous poke champion, you know, really good lane phase, lethality build. You can back on whatever basically you want. You just buy long swords and you can be super effective. But if he has to poke for 2 people now, it is Ezreal and Karma poking versus a single threat of Varus. And Tahm Kench, you can try and throw out your Qs and you try and get, you know, your bush control. But other than that cooldown of the Q, it becomes a bit more of a 2v1 there. And so I do kind of like the Ezreal Karma combination here for CLG, in addition to early picking the Ornn Sett tanks for later. It's basically what they give up, knowing that they're going to be facing basically the first pick Varus.
Yep, I think teams are starting to let Varus through, which I like as well. I think at some point you just have to say, like, hey, we need to find ways around this champion. So I think teams have finally been able to say, hey, I think we can give it up and figure out ways around it. But I'm just going to say, if you're watching at home, now is a great time to get some popcorn, get a drink, get something, because I would guess this game is going to be quite slow.
Very well could be. You can put some bet onto Broxah maybe and put all your coins in there and look for some possible Lee Sin plays maybe, but very well could start out as a farm fest. I am super excited once again for Deus that CLG have put in, because reaching out to their coach, he seemed so excited. I believe Weldon also kind of talked about possible burnout for Ruin, so with Deus just grinding away on solo queue, being super enthusiastic with all the different changes that they've made. You know, maybe this will be a different look for the team. He is on Ornn, but as Licorice just showed last game, you can also shine very brightly on Ornn. Impact here on his classic Shen, though, just the grasp and 2 grasp matchup. Looking for the level 6 for that possible jungle invade that he can support when he gets his ultimate, or a bottom side play. As you see here, just going to have both red starts for both junglers. And I honestly don't see Broxah actually going for a kill or anything early. Probably will be just red side up to top side and then over to scuttle back down. Meanwhile, Syndra should be able to get push on mid lane there, Pobelter, even with the mana nerfs. He looked like he got a pretty decent spam there with the Q. Now Jensen actually pushing back pretty quickly on Azir once he gets his level 2 first. Azir just gets to auto on through the wave. Pobelter going for it though. He gets the stun. Oh, he doesn't get the stun. He just got the knockback. Trying to get his Force of Will a little bit off to the side there with the Q. And with that down, they also nerfed the cooldown of your Force of Will. So going to be a little bit exposed to possible ganks. Impact going in for the trade. Does land the taunt grasp trade right there. And Deus already feeling the burn as far as the as those trades. He's got biscuits as well as corrupting potions, so should be able to heal up just fine and dandy. And turning towards the bottom side, the double poke lane. Smoothie and Stixxay. Are they able to get these skill shots past sort of minions right now? Just pushing the lane in here versus Tactical and CoreJJ during the beginning of this. And once again, they both have teleport for the bottom laners. So both of these ADs can back on varying amounts of gold and have pretty good purchases. Yes, ideally your Ezreal wants to get tier or tier plus Sheen or something like that and use the teleport there. And Varus would love to get early lethality purchases, but they're pretty cheap and you can try and use your teleport to get the extra pressure. Smoothie lands a nice Q there. I believe it was Mantra Q'd and Stixxay following up with a bunch of poke. This is what I was talking about with picking that Tahm Kench early. It just makes the lane 2v1, 2 poke versus 1 so difficult. And Wiggily coming in for the dive. Can he get the flash for the stun? Pastry, welcome back, my friend. Just in time for some action.
He's trying. You know what? We're just chilling out. I think he did a great job, though, as CoreJJ and Tactical going to have to back off from the early poke like we predicted. It does seem like the 2v2, even with something as passive as the Ezreal, can be kind of tricky here. So Smoothie looking good with the Ignite Karma. We'll have to track that lane as it goes on. But here was our, I guess I could say main event here in mid lane, but again, there'll be just a lot of trading back and forth. Jensen with a nice bit of poke onto POB. But definitely more about the farming and the keeping of the wave control than the killing of the enemy champion.
The wave control is what got more difficult for Syndra too. With the mana nerfs on Q, as well as the cooldown on the stun. Here we go. Broxah wants to go for the dive.
I think Pobelter is a pretty good idea of what's happening here. Just trying to stay far back. Now Broxah has left though, so any potential opportunity has gone, but that is going to give Jensen space to go ahead and reset the wave and pick up maybe that last chapter if he does want to go that route. We're starting to see some variance in Azir build. Actually a very respectful first buy here, straight for the Merc treads.
Doesn't want to get chain stunned with the CC. And you do bring it up, so I liked the Bjergsen style where he skipped Lost Chapter, didn't go for the mana, and lane through, just straight rushing through Nashers into Death Cap, and he got a really early spike. But Jensen playing very cautiously here, doesn't want to be prone to the Syndra stuns, setting up for those kills, as Pobelter is approaching level 6 now. Does use his back to get the extra AP, and a possible stacking here with the Dark Seal.
So yeah, seeing a lot more combat-ready keystones as well in mid. I do like to keep track of how many spellbooks teams have, because I think players are starting to realize that you can sneak in more than you maybe think. The only one in this game, though, is CoreJJ's. I have seen quite a number of mages go for it in certain matchups, but I think both Syndra and Azir have specific enough needs that fitting in spellbook is probably too tricky for those champions.
All right, well, maybe we get some excitement with Shen hitting level 6. This is the first difference in the team comps that we're talking about. You know, both of them have used a lot of scaling, but Impact has a possibility now of accentuating any sort of play that Broxah wants to make. So Broxah right now trying to create some advantage, taking over Scuttle Crab, taking over control ward vision of this dragon area, and then basically what you do whenever you have the Shen teleport discrepancy for the top side, you look to force. Right now, even though Ornn could join, he has extremely low amount of mana, so wouldn't be able to get off full combo plus ultimate cast if Impact continues to just try and shove this wave and then ults down. And Impact even wants to keep up the pressure in that goal for Team Liquid. He buys the Tiamat for the 1325 gold spike of minion wave pushing, and he can threaten to use his ultimate instead of the teleport because Deus is so low on mana, and he's going to try and force the recall here. This opens up, again, the bottom side for Broxah, for Team Liquid.
Yep, certainly one of the benefits of the Shen Impact, just basically cheating on tempo. He's going to go ahead and get another wave pushed in as Deus finally returns, and he's keeping very snug there in the top lane. 2 Ruby Crystals and 2 Cloth Armors. He's found a sale back in the shop.
2 pair, baby.
Yeah, got an extra corrupting potion there as well. That's one of the spare cards. POB continuing to get pushed in, which is exactly what Jensen wants. And Impact, certainly very good in these kind of these tank matchups. I mean, for a long time, we talked about Impact being a tank player. Probably too much, but he certainly is very good in these sorts of matchups. And Shen, like you said, is a classic pick for him for a reason. Otherwise, this game is going, I would say, similarly speeded. That's what we'd expect. Deus having to navigate all the Tiamat-empowered slaps there from Impact, who, again, will be perma-pushing these waves as well as a result. So, kind of expecting one or both jungler to make their way up here. For now, though, Broxah, he's level 6. He's going to go back, purchase up, and then maybe think about this early dragon.
And even though it is a tank v tank matchup, and people usually just go, snooze fest, blah, nothing to this matchup, I think it is kind of interesting to talk about with Shen. You have to save your Spirit's Refuge for your dodge. So once the Ornn applies Brittle to you, those are the autos that you want to block. Because those are the autos that have the percentage health damage on them. That's the big damage for the trade. And Impact is doing a very good job at saving this. That's why his health is so much higher. All that being said, his health advantage on the top side should turn into, once again, him shoving the wave and Team Liquid getting objectives for free. This is the whole benefit of Shen topside. He forced the teleport trades by going back and get the early Tiamat. And just by the threat of a stand united, Team Liquid can chase CLG off of the Dragon and earn the first objective for themselves while still allowing Jensen to comfortably farm and scale in mid lane.
Yeah, nice attempt there from Stixxay, but unfortunately just puts the Dragon in smite range, so that first Drake will in fact go over to TL. Smoothie continuing to dance around there, fires off a Mantra Q into CoreJJ as Jensen somehow avoids that stun, and now off he goes. The flash is caught by the ulti, sorry. Now Impact's in there, Broxah is in as well. That's going to be such an easy first blood. Impact, the one to collect it.
Impact difference. There you go. Some proactive Shen play. I personally like it on the junglers going to invade, but they go on Jensen. He is going to be the big carry for this team. Pull out the DPS for them later in the game. And then after you kill mid lane, easy transition for Team Liquid to pick up the Rift Herald. Broxah should be able to cash in with that. Boom. As soon as you see that Scatter of the Weak down for Pobelter, no stun available, long cooldown, and Jensen knows he can just go in. He's got a Shen on his back and a jungler to boot. Pretty easy for them to get that first blood. Now, ideally, they want the actual last hit onto Jensen, but he was a little far there, so Impact decides to cash in and take it for himself. Maybe he buys like a Kindle Gem or something, a little bit of cooldown reduction with it so he can get his next ultimate a little bit quicker. He did get the blue buff, so some cooldown reduction there for him.
Yeah, and also potential for a regank in mid lane as well. We'll see how POB wants to play out kind of the next few minutes without his flash, especially since Jensen is looking to skip Lost Chapter here with the looks of things and go for the early Nashes. So we're significantly more powered up in the early levels. Right now, they're going to clear those minions, go ahead and take blue buff, and Team Liquid will continue their very solid game plan. Like you've kind of said before, Kobe, so much of all the success comes from how easy it is for Team Liquid to push their lanes, and this is definitely the kind of team where if they have all three pushing lanes, the jungler can walk in. That's the kind of controlled but advantage game that they want to play.
And now that Varus has been able to get the first recall off for Tactical and picking up some lethality and the cooldown reduction, and you get your levels into queue, then they can start to regain some control of this lane. You see that CS difference is still here from the early 2v1 power of Stixxay and Smoothie, just landing so much poke on him. But here's the clap back, basically, of Varus. You see the Q charge right through the entire minion wave there, and he basically clears it himself and becomes the one-man push-in army that's allowed to get the minion wave into the tower and force a little bit of defense from that bottom side. Teleport used to get right back out here as well from CoreJJ this time on his spellbook.
Yeah, again, nice use of that there, just swapping over to TP and getting right back out on the map. Does have 2 control wards, and he's got his support item ready with the wards as well. So CoreJJ with plenty of room to maneuver. Titanic already finished in the top lane though, so if it wasn't hard enough for Deus in the 1v1, Impact is just really making that first blood gold work.
Yeah, it actually feels so nice when you complete Titanic. They buffed quite a few patches ago the extra damage that you get from stacking health, and with the grass and with Shen, 11 stack health anyway for the health ratio he already has. Impact has a huge trade, able to push out Deus once again, forcing him to recall before teleport comes back up. So he's mining turret plates himself. Bottom lane even has a Rift Herald. CoreJJ and Tactical take off to themselves. Rift Herald popped. Team Liquid are just going to make so much cash off of these early turrets.
Yeah, this is just very effective by the numbers play for TL, as that tower almost falls in bottom lane. Not going to have enough here, but the wave is crashing back in. As you mentioned already, Kobe, Varus has kind of insta-push lifestyle right now, but looks like they don't want to commit even with this cannon wave. Just going to be some poke here out of Tactical, and if you can get one more arrow in, it should be enough, but no need to walk forward there again.
One more on the tower? Yeah.
Yeah, on the tower.
Yeah, you got to take a little bit more deeps on the tower, but luckily for them, 35 seconds left on the Dragon, so Team Liquid's plan remains the same. You see that cooldown on Impact? It's very straightforward. Stand United is available. Dragon is spawning here. So Impact uses the Titanic Hydra to try and keep the top lane pressure on Deus, continually trying to make him farm his minions at the turret, setting up for the bottom lane play. They can get Tactical a recall here, before Dragon even comes in. And that's going to be completed lethality, Umbral Glaive, plus the extra serrated Dirk. And then just teleport right back out. You see these corridors are pre-warded for Team Liquid, so their setup for the Dragon stacking is pretty much perfect. Steal away the blue buff, and you can just throw down your poke through these corridors. CLG want to catch him, though.
Yeah, Broxah does get the smite down, but the fight is the thing they have to be concerned about. Broxah going to miss the follow-up Q onto Wiggily. So TL still holding control of this Dragon Pit.
And they have the option to play it slow. Because Impact is Shen with 2 globals with the teleport plus Stand United, they get the extra card in this game of poker. Deus goes back on Ornn, and he's walking back to lane to try and deal with those minions. And Team Liquid say, well, okay, we don't even have to start the Dragon. They do get stunned.
Good stun Devour as well, but they got to protect Tactical. There's the Sett diving in with the ultimate. Wiggily gets taunted and killed by Impact. Ulti out from Deus, but it's just too late. Ornn cannot join as quickly as the Shen can. So 1 kill for TL.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to stop there. They can definitely force on the objective as well. CoreJJ is going back. You can Abyssal Voyage, even though rank 1 only gets you about halfway back out. It will be quicker than walking the entire way. And only 1 control word for CLG gives them any sort of vision. Just like that, Team Liquid will continue to steamroll this game. It is a slow roll, but it is still a steamroll. Team Liquid have all the objectives for themselves. It is both Dragons, plus they got the Rift Herald and Tower Plates to boot. Very smooth.
All right, so I'm going to do CLG a favor here and say that TL's currently on track for a perfect game, which now, of course, means that it won't be. But
you're trying to curse them. I see.
A very clean first 15 minutes here. I imagine Coach Jat is somewhere in the Alienware training facility being very content with how these opening minutes have gone, because this is like shades of the old Team Liquid, just extremely methodical, very clinical gameplay.
And it comes from literally just one little tweak of the Shen pick topside for Impact. An extra global just does wonders for you if both teams are playing slow teams, because there's not going to be this surprise factor. I think CLG need to make, like, Wiggily has to get a good flank. If Wiggly's not already able to kind of stealthily find his way around Team Liquid vision and find an exceptional flank, then CLG don't have a lot of surprise cards to turn the tables and force Team Liquid off of their game plan. And since it's already been 16 minutes straight of Team Liquid's game plan going perfectly, it's almost just too hard to even catch back up at this point. CLG are trying to make some headway down bottom side. Pobelter will get 1 tower for themselves, so they break that perfect game very quickly.
Yep, like I said, just trying to help him out there as POV does manage to at least get some gold back into CLG's pockets. They're still down 4,000 gold, which is extremely significant this early on into the game. And you can see, I mean, that arrow did not connect onto Stixxay, but with 2 lethality items already done, with Broxah getting the 2nd Rift Herald of this game, should be able to knock down this mid-outer tower, complete the felling of the outer ring, and just keep the good times rolling on the Team Liquid side, especially with the Shen being so powerful, with having those 2 kills, with now building tank items on top of this early Titanic. Impact was able to rush. Having an open map with any sort of global is always favorable, and given the position of this game and where the champions are on the TL side, taking down this mid tower is going to make CLG's life extremely challenging.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we've seen a resurgence of focus onto global champions. Twisted Fate was thrust into the spotlight pretty much in all leagues around the world, making a lot of the early global plays, but Nocturne, Tahm, Kench, Shen, all of these champions coming back pretty strong, as with all the extra neutral objectives on the map, teams have really begun to be able to more easily proactively use those semi-globals and global champions. And when you can use those more quickly off of cooldown with there being more neutral objectives, it makes them more effective.
Oh, again, the flash gets caught by Jensen's ulti, but its Impact that sets it all up in the shrubbery. That just looked too easy, honestly.
He didn't even have to flash for it. That was definitely too easy. He just gets the taunt right out of the brush. No flash needed from Impact. Jensen's going to use his flash to follow up on the kill, but since Pobelter used his in his efforts to stay alive as well, it's still a trade, and that is just going to be secondary turret now, going down almost without any further effort. Team Liquid just knocked that over, and they still have the Stand United for Impact to be able to use. He teleports up to the top side, keeping up the pressure. They're trying to keep the tempo of this game at a very high rate, allowing them to get basically every single objective in a row.
Yeah, and now that the bottom side is just so long, you know, as far as distance, having to walk down to this dragon, up in a minute, there'll be that first Soul Dragon. It will be Infernal Soul this go-around. Pobelter is at least going to get the blue buff, so get something before the next fight's going to brew, but it's very small concessions at this point. I mean, Deus just has not been able to do anything in this game. He's just hanging out with Impact under his tower.
Yeah, I mean, again, the early trading pattern is pretty good for Shen, where you get to use your Spirit's Refuge, you dodge the auto attacks from Ornn that are supposed to proc Brittle. And let's take a look at this skirmish on bottom side. Wiggily having to try and dodge around from the skill shots. No Q does land, so no action.
All right, well, not sure they could figure out exactly where they wanted to go on, but CLG are charging back in. CoreJJ is going to be forced to flash over that wall. Dragon's up in about 40 seconds, and we will pause. A very dramatic gap in the action.
I'm just going to try and create some action here, you know. I think people, especially CLG fans, are lucky that you're casting this game with me and not Freak, because Freak would be still pissed from the last game that he cast of CLG, and with the same things basically going on here, where just no objectives. Team Liquid with the threat of the Stand United, and then with the actual Stand United, plus control wards controlling vision through the brush, have just taken every single objective for this entire game. And if you do that for 17 minutes plus, then the map is yours, and it becomes so hard for CLG. You see there, they try and use the Karma speed up to catch Team Liquid inside their own jungle, but all they get for it is one flash from CoreJJ and chase them out.
Yeah, but it's not, you know, not because CLG aren't necessarily trying to do anything. I think Team Liquid have actually just done a great job of stifling any attempt that CLG had. And I think it does fall all the way back to how effective this Shen has been for Impact. Like, I could have easily told you that he's going to either play Gangplank or Ornn, so Team Liquid absolutely could have figured that out for CLG's top laner joining this game. And I think they just say, you know what? We're going to give him Ornn, even though he's very good on the champion. And if we just figure out a way that Ornn can never, ever join a team fight, the game is a lot easier. And that's kind of what it's felt like for this 17 minutes. Like, Deus has mostly just been hanging out with Impact under his own tower, like, trying to get some farm.
Yeah. So the possibilities for action from CLG, you can try and go through and say, okay, so the Ezreal Karma lane early, landing a lot of poke and trying to soften up bottom side, is a risky option because there are teleports still that can join from the rest of the team, but that is one of the options to try and pry open. And we saw Wiggily headed down there, but then they did get scared off when they were able to dodge out. And the other one would be try and attack Jensen before Jensen gets off the first teleport and gets off his first purchase, since he's not using cleanse. Maybe he would be able to get something there if you can Syndra stun, and then Sett is able to flash between him and a minion wave. You have a CC lock there, and you try and get something on the Azir before the Azir has had a chance to purchase without the cleanse. But you know, other than that, like, maybe you can't really make a lot of headway in the Ornn versus Shen matchup unless you get the Ornn or you get the Shen unawares with Spirit Refuge down. So I think it definitely was difficult.
Yeah, and I feel like right now, in the situation they're in, Deus is effectively like, he'll be late to every team fight, like especially relative to a Shen with ulti. So unless they're going to his lane, I don't think he's the one that has to start it off. I think you can look, though, to Pobelter and Wiggily, you know, with the Syndra, with the Sett. These are champions that can find a catch, especially on something like, you know, a Varus if Tahm Kench isn't near, or an Azir if the Tahm Kench isn't near. Because these are very powerful carriers, but also very immobile, especially if they don't have their flashes. So there is definitely windows to try and attack here. It's just that Team Liquid are doing a very good job of not presenting those things to CLG.
I mean, yeah, that's why I point more towards the early game where you have to create those windows, because once you get to the point where Team Liquid already have taken all your defenses off the map, they've taken all your outer towers, even your secondary tower on the bottom side of the map. They get to transition into Shen split push, and Tahm Kench never leaves Varus side. You're like, okay, maybe you pick the Varus when Tahm Kench isn't there. That's actually never has to happen now because Tahm Kench can always be next to him, and then you get the threat of Abyssal Voyage taking him over to rotate to the side lanes as well. It just, yeah, Team Liquid did a very good job setting themselves up for this mid game, and now they just have to execute to secure themselves that second place spot.
And I think where we did leave the game off, CLG at least have the right idea. Like, they probably going to have to force some pretty ugly looking fights, maybe with some numbers not being all complete, maybe even with being down a player or two, but at least CLG, from what we just saw before we got away, are looking to try and make a productive play on TL around for this next Dragon, because they've already given so much away that like it's not a good situation, but you certainly cannot afford to give anything more away.
Fair enough. All right.
But now we wait, Kobe.
Team Liquid going to be pretty happy during this pause. I'm sure they're a lot more relaxed than CLG. But CLG are just trying to come up with something. All right, now how do we get ourselves out of this one? Gonna be difficult.
You can say that again. Certainly is very challenging. Looking back, yeah, I don't know. I think I wouldn't even say like the scaling is necessarily feels all that good. Like, yeah, Ezreal scales well, Syndra scales fine. Like, they have good frontline. It's just the map position is really the big issue, and it's not like Team Liquid are afraid of team fights, especially given how far ahead they are. So I feel like this is something we've seen a lot from TL, especially when Tahm Kench was meta. It's like so many teams just weren't smart enough to beat Team Liquid when they had two globals and were rotating around the map. This is like, it's funny that this is like where they've landed this week, at least as far as style goes, because this is like the Team Liquid that I have seen win 4 championships. Just pick Tahm Kench, be smarter and better than the other team, and then slowly win the game and never give your opponents chances to get back.
Yeah, so I want to bring up a topic here that's been pretty heavily discussed with Team Liquid with the recent performances, right? Against a lot of the top teams, a lot of these games have come with them being behind and their opponents making some critical errors, which led to a lot of half-hearted support, I guess, of people like, okay, we've heard from the players that in scrims, Team Liquid, probably the second best team from a lot of the different players, and their record certainly shows it. But this game here is a completely one-sided stomp, which is basically going to be the emphatic answer to last week's issues where they were unable to get a lot of those advantages and earn them themselves. So this time around, I think it is a pretty good answer as they've been able to look back and focus on those points. Let's get back into the game. Here we go. We got some action.
All right, so Deus is here. Now he's dead. Impact is just going to take him out for kill number 4. Like we said, CLG were trying to make it happen. Sett's going to dunk Broxah back in towards the team, and he might go down, but not yet as Jensen finds the scoop under the flashless POB. That's going to be 2 clean ones there for TL. Stixxay now the next target. And CLG can do nothing but run away and give away the objective. As Team Liquid, they get the 2 kills, and they'll get their 3rd dragon as well.
Maybe we get the like freak soundboard to play.
Ooh, that'd be good.
To play during things like this. All right, Stixxay tries to get some damage onto that mid turret. Ooh, look at that, like 3 autos. That one's gonna leave a scratch.
Yeah, Jensen with the blue buff, just gonna completely zone the Ezreal off. I mean, Jensen's level 14. Stixxay actually is doing a nice bit of work with the Mystic Shots here, but he's 3 levels down from the Azir currently. As the rest of TL just resetting, gonna go ahead, buy up, and I don't know, probably just run the Baron at this point. I mean, Impact still has to wait for his ulti to come back off cooldown. That's kind of the only gate that Team Liquid are having to wait for, but once that reopens, should be nice and easy to split push this long lane and take the Baron with whoever happens to be around.
Yeah, so they have a lot of options because even though some people don't really think of Azir as a split pusher, it is a champion that has very quick wave clear and his own self-escape. So they could easily just push all 3 lanes with the amount of control and the lead that they have in this game. Again, talking about Tahm Kench, you just stick by your Varus in mid lane, push that one. Impact easily has the push with his 2-level lead and Titanic over the Ornn, and then you just have Azir from range very quickly clear the waves, and you just slip back after pushing it and threaten Baron once again. Then you fish for your picks with Tactical's ultimate here. Chains of Corruption lands on somebody and just fire away.
Yeah, Umbreglaive taking care of that ward in mid lane. You can see CLG are trying to push up where they can, but TL are getting all their pieces in place.
Wiggily possible Hex Flash does flash, but it's not behind them enough, so nobody's going to get picked.
Yeah, again, without space, it's really challenging for CLG to find these angles. Broxah also is just waiting in the wings. He will get spotted, but not really afraid of Wiggily. He's going to get pulled back, but Broxah is just going to ward hop out to safety. And Impact is starting the run towards the bottom inhibitor tower.
Yep, the split push taking its toll. Nobody's there to answer as Deus is over here in the mid lane with the rest of the team since they were trying to make one of those cracking plays where Wiggily flashed over the back and they get their one team fight to come back in the game. But if you don't get that team fight, you spent your resources of rotating your defense over. It cost you this half a health turret on the bottom side, and Jensen's onto that Baron, just burning right through it.
Yeah, this is one of the other benefits of Azir. Just such a good champion at dueling Baron with whatever frontliner you happen to have. In this case, it is going to be Broxah's Lee Sin. CoreJJ, though, trying to play defense. They've rooted up the jungler. They need to be careful about this one. Deus going in, and it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Broxah's able to get the Baron.
No Hex Flash, because Wiggily tried to use it in earlier, so the cooldown wasn't quite back up right there. No way for him to get in. Stixxay again kind of throwing the very hopeful Hail Mary over the top. Maybe you can get a steal with the Ezreal. And without that, Team Liquid, zero reason to stop. Baron buff now makes that 1-3-1 we were talking about earlier just laughably easy to execute. Plus the fact that Infernal Soul is coming up in a minute and a half. You just continue to push for the next minute and a half with your Baron. You keep CLG trapped inside your base, and during that time, all of these regular wards will time out, and the only thing you have to worry about is clearing out the control wards, which is already being done. So you starve CLG of any vision that they have on the map while wearing away at their turrets, and then you can just retreat for your soul.
Yeah, not a sight you want to see there if you're a CLG fan. Both solo laners trying to catch a wave under the tower as the solo Azir pushes them. But that's kind of where the reality for CLG is, at least while this Baron buff is on. TL just going to be very patient here, wait for that Infernal Dragon, like you said, pick up the soul whenever it's convenient, and there's no need for them to move away. If the 1-3-1 before was, like, you know, laughably easy and horrendously punishing, it's torturous at this point with Baron buff. Like, it just feels like you can't do anything. And if you're Team Liquid, that's exactly what you want CLG to feel like. That's the kind of game plan you've been executing on, as Impact might even have enough to take out this tower. It's going to be close, but Pobelter is here in time to protect it.
You got to create some mini games, Pastry Times. In times like this, you need party games for CLG. Set your goal, put your own bounty on somebody's head, and just decide, we are going to get a victory if we take down X champion. I would say try and put it on like CoreJJ or Broxah, as those would be maybe the likeliest ones. And throw everybody at him. See if you can take down that one person to get your name in lights and get yourselves onto the scoreboard. Right now, they're having a difficult time clearing out some of this vision around their own dragon, leading up to the soul.
Oh, goodness. Oh, there's Sett going in. TP as well. Here comes Deus with the Ornn ulti. Gets the knockoff onto 2. The fight not looking bad here for CLG. His Tactical is going to be taken out by POB. Smoothie trying to run away. His Impact did dive in, but it's too late now for TL. Going to make it too as CoreJJ will fall as well, surely. Surely they can kill the Tahm Kench. There we go. Good work, Stixxay. Finding a mystic shot onto Tahm Kench. They'll get the dragon as well. And CLG finally finding a team fight.
Impact's like, are you
Everyone's
kidding me?
out there.
You guys got caught. I'm out of here. He teleports to the top side. He's going to go split push with the Baron. But CLG, Pastry, they just pull it out of nowhere right there. They get the Infernal Dragon. They stop the soul just in time. It still is going to be a massive task coming back in the game and trying to deal with the Team Liquid split. But they do check off the first box, Infernal Dragon for Counter Logic Gaming.
Yep, they stop at least some of the snowball effect. Deus is going to clean up the rest of the minions there in top lane. Impact did not get that tower, despite the pretty early TP out of that team fight.
He taught it a lesson, though. It's gonna remember that damage.
Yeah, not going to regen. So Deus is going to try and push this lane back out as far as he can. Tactical's going to return here with 3 finished items now, but just keeping an eye on the mid wave as TL. No need to stop the game plan right now. Still up, 7,000 gold, which is very significant given how early on it still is in this game. We're under 28 minutes right now. And Baron coming back up in 2 minutes means the Impact is still the big threat here in the side lane.
Props to CLG for their focus in the last game. Wiggily dunking Tactical and getting Tactical's flash out, and Pobelter finding that teleport, then right onto him for the follow-up. Just so key in taking out the backline damage there from Team Liquid. Jensen as well on the Azir. They are able to deal with him. And that means CLG able to get turret number 2, matching their kills here. Definitely going to be difficult to deal with the minions, but trying to fight their way back. Now, if you can set up a possible, pick on the side lane, maybe they cut off Jensen. There's no flash now on the Azir either. Looks like they could possibly send multiple members over to get the job done.
Yeah, currently overloading this Baron side of the map. Going to take the blue buff away here as well. Pobelter just going to steal that one, and it will go over to Stixxay, who can always make good use of the mana here. Has 3 items finished on the Ezreal as well. So CLG at least getting control of this Baron up area. If they can keep it away from TL and just kind of float the game in the closest they can make it, then they're at least on the right track there. They have shown that they can win a team fight, right? If everything can get set up. It's just getting set up that's been the big problem.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, they need a good flank there from Wiggily or to have his flash up so he can get right in. And Pobelter's teleport in the last one put him in such a good spot to ultimate Tactical and take him down. Going to be difficult, though. Again, Team Liquid, they need to clear out the wards so that doesn't come up. Baron should be the site of the next force for them. You just leave Impact down on that bottom side. He still is just such a juggernaut pushing ahead. And Deus is going to have to rotate. He can kind of try and stick at the turret to delay that. Luckily for CLG, they do have a decent amount of poke they can throw when Team Liquid try and rotate over to Baron. When you have Ezreal and Karma combination, not only do you have multiple ways of trying to check those brush with your skill shots, but you also have the extra speed up from Karma to allow Ezreal to try and be even more of a nuisance and poke around, try and land some damage.
I mean, you mentioned, CLG starting the mini games, putting bounties. If they can pick up Impact, he's currently worth 700 bonus gold. And I assume they can win a 1v5. It's losing the rest of the map if you decide to gank Impact with everyone. That's more of the issue, but he's looking more like
sneaking in. Boom! He gets a hit onto the turret.
I mean, he can certainly afford to take the measly Ornn damage right now. Looks like Baron, though, started by TL, so this is the real fight. Impact, of course, going to be the first there, but CLG have the poke here to maybe get them off, and TL will not commit for the objective. Broxah actually a little too far forward there. Wiggily looking for it, gets the chilling smite, gonna force the flash at least.
Gotta watch out for the Azir, extremely fed. Impact does it himself though. Sneaks in again, he's level 18, finishes off the turret. Again, Team Liquid, they just need to apply pressure. They don't have to rush into anything as they're the ones with the upper hand with Impact now. If you just keep CLG out at the Baron, Impact will eventually just get the no tower on the inhibitor, so he should be able to get that as well. But they relent on the pressure on Baron and allow CLG to get a reset here.
Yeah, it looks like wanting to make sure they have set up for this Dragon, which is up in 17 seconds. So TL potentially, based on the timing, could rush it down, but it does seem like CLG will at least be in the area enough to contest. Stixxay currently chasing down Impact, so a lot more attention being brought his way. For once, it's 3v1 right now. Impact recognizing that, just going to dash out over the wall. Looks like another 2-man Baron has begun, though. Yeah, TL know that they can just kind of really pull CLG across the map. So it's a 3-man attempt, but this two-shot barrage is going to get the bad news very, very late.
Yeah, CLG are trying to take the lesser of two evils in their eyes, where they deny another Dragon Soul, and the chance of them beating TL at the Baron fight is really low because, Impact is just staying united right over there. So they say, okay, we'll take the small price here. We will deny another soul. We'll allow you to have Baron number 2. Problem is, Baron number 2 is even stronger, and Team Liquid can just use this to end the game. They don't need Dragon Soul to end the game. They've got plenty of damage there with the Azir, and Impact doesn't have to leave bottom side either. He just recalls, purchases, and teleports right back with the Warmogs. He is definitely an unkillable Shen at the moment. CLG going to have a very difficult time breaking the chokehold from Team Liquid now. All that Team Liquid have to do is continue to press in on all sides. Tactical, though.
Ooh. Stixxay with the two-shot barrage, not going to connect. CoreJJ is there just in case the Devour was needed, but that is the kind of poke that Stixxay wants to be landing there. Tactical getting a little too far forward, the Iceborne able to chase him down. Not really going to stop Team Liquid. Tactical's just going to hang back and let the rest of the side lanes push in towards the inhibitors, but that is a spot of good news for CLG, who are just trying to keep TL out of their base, Kobe.
I feel like they've been trying to keep TL out of the base for the whole game.
Yep.
Again, Impact with Warmogs now, he can actually extend pretty far. Like, you can go in, you get a couple whacks onto the inhibitor, and then you taunt back out before the rotation comes over from Stixxay and Smoothie. Deus is actually doing a decent job on the Baroned up minions, though, trying to push it back out first.
Thank goodness Banner of Command's out of the game. I got flashbacks to that item with just how impossible it is to move Impact in these Baroned up cannons out of these waves. Deus at least does get the first one, but again, the slow grind is starting to really wear on CLG as TL should be able to open this up. Good ulti onto Wiggily as well. Just keeping him away from the team while you take the tower is more than enough there out of the Varus ulti. And
yep,
Impact
that's going to
finish that off.
That's going to be 2. Can he get out? Impact uses the taunts.
All right, 1v3. Warmogs, 2-3 other tank items. He flashes, he's fine. All right, looks like we answered that question.
Happy Cat. Let's go, Impact. I'm on your side now.
That is a good one.
Happy Cats for all.
Happy
all right,
Cats
only mid lane left here. Team Liquid again, like I was talking about. Boom, they can try and end the game with this Baron buff. 30 seconds left on the timer.
All right, there we go. Call the Forge God has to be thrown, and a goal at least, but no.
Another one.
There.
Ooh. Pobelter with the flank.
Ooh, that's a big one onto Tactical, but Devour, I think, found him just in time. Sett, they're going to find the dunk. It's Broxah that's going to be the target, but CoreJJ is already dead. A double kill actually for the Ornn as Jensen's trying to get out. He is forced to flash after scooping them up, and now Impact is caught out. Again, he's just so tanky that I don't know if they've got enough source to slay the Shen, and they don't. Impact's just going to get out of there. But CLG, hold on for now.
Pobelter with the big TP flank. He just annihilates the health bar on Tactical with his combo. It's behind him, and then even though you get devoured in, you don't heal inside Tahm Kench's belly. And CLG do win another team fight. But these one team fights are hollow victories. Again, okay, Ornn ultimate down the middle. Ezreal ultimate down the middle. And Pobelter's like, that was just a distraction for me. Goes in, combos Tactical, and Wiggily gets the ult onto Broxah. Finish him off as well with after he gets out of the stopwatch from Pobelter. And CLG, they win another team fight, but they lose the war. It's like, you know, you may have won the battle, but again, still probably losing the war here as they can't get any objectives. You know, there's no chest of gold at the end of any of their quest lines that they're turning in here.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, you went through the dungeon and you've almost fallen in like every pothole and every ravine, and you haven't yet, but you know, you check your map finally when you find the chest that has that in it, and you're not even halfway through the dungeon, right? Like, it's just, there's so much work for CLG to do to stay in this game, but the good news is it's not over yet, Kobe. Getting the next dragon, though, is going to prove to be pretty impossible looking task.
I
CLG
think
have done a good job of keeping 2 away from them, but I don't think they can keep the 3rd away.
I think Team Liquid, I mean, all you have to do is basically play around your super minions. When you have all 3 inhibitors down, it doubles super minions in all 3 lanes, and that amount of pressure is just overwhelming to deal with, especially if you look at the team comps. It's not like they have a fed Sivir or anything that can, you know, auto-clear all these waves. So all you have to do is move up your super minions and let the super minions deal with CLG for a while with all the pressure. and then boom, you do get your Infernal Soul, and you can just walk right back into the base and end the game off of your super minions, because there's just, you can't deal with 5 fed Team Liquid champions and 3 lines of double supers.
Oh goodness, that's so much damage already. Jensen with the poke. Stixxay and Pobelter already getting low. Stixxay going to be forced to Arcane Shift away. But here's that push you mentioned. Wiggily actually trapped up by the Varus ulti. Going to get jumped on. That's going to be a kill easily for the Shen. And Deus going to let the ulti rip once more, but there's no Pobelter flank this time. And TL just going to walk these minions in. It's already 5v4, let alone all the super minions that are going to start hitting that final Nexus turret. Don't think there's anything left in the tank for CLG, but they'll see if they can put up some sort of resistance around the Nexus. Stixxay dancing on a Broxah does get the Blow of the Ruin King pop. But again, the minions finishing it off. Impact with the shutdown just straight up taunts Pobelter and slaps it with the Titanic Hydra. And Impact has taken full control of this game from minute 1 to minute 37. It's going to be Team Liquid all the way as CLG. They're going to finally lose all 5 as Deus runs back towards the fountain. They're going to try and dive him, surely. You know what, the minions are making it difficult, but they will get the Bud Light Ace. They'll grab the Nexus as well. And Team Liquid